now it's the new year, first video for 2018 or 2018. So I've talked about several things, also trying to pre-make a lot of videos on my other channel. So I'm a little bit drawn in all directions, and some of them I may start here or there and then continue on my other channel, since I have no clue really where I started. But hopefully anyone who needs any of the information that I share or as a relaxation will find it. Let's hope so. Yeah. And so I will continue talking about the aura and effects on the aura, not only its brilliance and how that have so much to do with ourselves being perceived beautiful or so on or not. It's much more that, the light from within. Even those who cannot perceive the aura in that sense, that way through the eyes, will still experience the illumination. So everyone picks up on it, if nothing else subconsciously. So, okay, things that can have a bad effect on the aura is drugs, for example. And if you move into deep trance before you're ready to, it can also cause different blockages, because you get too frightened and you react negatively, and that can also come side by side with drugs. Then if you would use them to take away your natural defenses, maybe things happens too fast for you, then could be the case. And also, if you don't have enough concentration, you need to concentrate or be present, mindfully, consciously present in your body, in your energy, or your own energy, to have the aura, your energy feel strong. If you're drawn everywhere else, your energy will dissipate a bit and get a little bit scattered. You need to have the ability to concentrate and focus, and I'm not saying you should only do that, but you should do that and pretty frequently tune into where you are with yourself, what you feel in your own energy. So, and to do that, you probably will need some practice. Different kinds of practices are out there. I love Thich Nhat Hanh, as you all know. Probably you have heard me before anyways. But there are many, many ways, and there are no wrong ways, only right ways. So whatever helps you come into light trance or relaxation or focus. Usually it's very hard to focus or concentrate if you are not relaxed, because if you just run from one thing to another, and if you exhaust yourself or feel overwhelmed, it's not easy to, there are so many things to pull you, and also you don't really have the energy to focus all your concentration. So it may take, it depends on how much you are willing to practice and how focused you are meanwhile you do, if you're not distracted when you try to practice. And also it depends on just where you are at and how receptive, and that differs, and it's nothing wrong. However long time it would take, it could take a couple of years maybe. I think at the longest that would be for you to develop a strong sense of concentration if you practice done daily and in any case, you would, each time you practice or try, you would come closer and closer, and you would be more and more strong in your concentration and in your energy. That also means, so in your energy field and your aura. And also lack of knowledge can be dangerous. You can open up to. I personally have been I can't say too open in my life in one way, because, as I would prefer some of the experiences that I have had that I could have, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't skip out on them. I don't want to have them again, let's say. But I realized that a lot of that came from me being way, way too open. Maybe actually most of it. And I try to learn not to be. It's quite difficult for someone like me, because I really, really don't want to. Even to visualize this bubble around myself and all that, there are parts of me that are just resistant to that idea, because I want to be just open. I want to be in this oneness flow with everything and anyone. And in this world, that would cause me a lot of harm, and that's just not a smart way to go about it. So if I don't understand that, it's like, it's very sweet and lovely to have all kinds of pure thoughts and good wishes in all directions. And even therapists have said this to me many times, that everyone doesn't mean well, and gradually I've learned to understand that more. Part of me don't even want to understand that. It doesn't feel like something I would wish, but at the same time, all the contrasts are there. Everything that exists is, everything that is possible exists, actually. So, I mean, all the range is there, and I need to understand to be able to deal with my own energy in a good way that won't be harmful for myself. It's my responsibility to do so, and without putting a lot of distrust into the world, or being like threatened by the world and so on. Just realizing that in many ways it's not for the best to be just flowingly open. I'm not saying how anyone else should be. I'm just sharing my own experiences of how this have been for me and where it led me to. It haven't drained me. Actually, it's difficult to say that, because if I would not have been so open, then a lot of things that have happened would not have happened, and from those things still I have a solid strength that I wouldn't have had without those things, those very much unwanted things. So I can't, for sure, I can't recommend. If you feel the need to be so open, you must follow yourself. You must follow your own guidance always. But still, knowledge cannot be hurtful. It cannot be bad. Even if you choose still to be very open, for example, with your energy, you still understand better what other people do with their energy, and what you see, if you see energy, for example. And then it can be good to, you can learn from yourself through your own experience, what you see and experience and feel, not the least. But also there are many out there who can teach great things, and that will be very helpful for you to know a lot of things before, especially working with energy, like in energy work, but also just to keep your aura strong, your energy feels strong, and that is what informs the body. That is what also, if you keep that whole and strong, that also prevents imbalances and disease and so on in the body. So it's really, and in the mind, not the least. It's very important. So, yeah, knowledge, can't get enough of it, or too much of it. Maybe we can get enough sometime, yeah. But and also, if you can't control your own energies, I have explained sometimes when I had first learned in Wicca, when I did these visualizations and inner journeys and so on, I was so out of control. I went into almost like full-blown psychosis, you could say, or I don't know how to explain it, but to me, the other realm, or let's say like this physical reality or world, it was very, I can't say maybe fragile, but it was very, you could see through it. I mean, to me, nothing was solid, everything was, and it was very difficult for me to, and this came from a drug-related psychosis. Okay, I'm a bit not objective, maybe, are we ever? But I mean, I have my experiences, and I, of course, I take them in consideration when I share advices or whatnot here. So some others may have the polar opposite experiences, and I can understand where they can come from then too. But still, anyways, so to walk, even if I was walking like asphalt road, it was like a little bit scary to even put the feet on the ground because it was nothing there. It was not a solid surface to me, you know. I saw like beyond all the time, and I couldn't not do that. It was discomforting, but I was quite used to it. It was going on for many years. So. But when I started practicing energy work, you can say, then I learned how to come back into my body. Actually, that was a brilliant. Many use those techniques to be able to get loose from the solid perspectives of this physical realm, and that's mainly the reason why many people do those things, I think. But to me, it was the totally different or opposite way around. But still, when I went on these, I've shared this many times, but journeys and so on, I had no control. It was like going into a totally different world, and I could just, you know, it was like being swept away by like a hurricane. Or I just hoped that I would land safely or get back to the other reality that I left off from. But in that other, when I got into that deep sort of trance, or I had no control. I had no control whatsoever. And I realized that pretty quickly. I still wanted to do these things, strangely enough, but I was a little bit scared, yeah. But I realized quickly that I can't fight it. Then it would be very, very troublesome. I can just float. I can just go along with it and see where it takes me. I will follow the energy and trust it, sort of. Maybe I didn't trust it much, but to some degree I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone there over and over again doing these things. And usually, usually all the time, obviously, I'm here now. I came back, but it took a while before I truly came back, though. Although I could like move in my physical body and see things around me in the room and so on, I had to open all the windows or get out even, or eat something and start to make food, as I needed to do so many things to be able to help ground me. It was not easy to ground me, and but it was fun experiences. I mean, at the same time, it was like probably also like taking some like very heavy psychedelic drugs or something, because in no way I could have chosen to turn back or decide when or where. At least I felt like that. So I just had to follow along, and sometimes I didn't recall whatever happened. I just realized that I was back after some time or so. But yeah, I gradually learned to control this energy. I learned to control it so good so that I can even control my dreams and so on. And I should go for that more. I've chosen very much because I like to just follow along. I have a strong willpower, or I want a lot of things and so, but I don't know if it's because I'm lazy or no, it's not that. It's more like I'm curious and I like to be inspired and so I'm surprised, I guess, to some degree. So therefore I want to just be receptive sometimes and not intend too much myself. But I can, though. I learned to, even in dreams when I sleep, and so, and obviously I learned to control those visualizations and so on very much. And having my skeptical mindset, I'm not very trusting towards other people, especially, I guess. So I never followed exactly. I did something else instead, or said not the opposite. I mean, that's the way to do it also. You can kind of figure out that people would do the exact opposite or something. But no, I didn't want anyone to control my inner worlds. So I decided to do it my way. I did a lot of the things that I was taught, though, but not strictly like guided. So some simpler exercises with visualization, so on. I followed exact recipes, if you could say, to just learn how to do it, or so, or some sort of basic energy work or so. But yeah. But that can, of course, be dangerous. There are people who stay. I can't say that they, to some degree, may choose it. I don't think so, because I've experienced it, and I know how it is to not have any control of your energy, and so things just happen to you, and that's a horrifying experience, and it can be dangerous. So therefore also to check in with your energy and keep your energy strong, so you gradually heal and open up also gradually, and so that you won't be too affected if you don't want to. So it keeps, it helps you to have a choice. I've also talked about this cousin of mine. She lives in this, it's like they are sanitized, if you say, no, that's the Swedish word probably, but they're for those who are sensitive to electricity and so, and I am too, but not as much. Ayurveda, no, not Ayurveda, but part of Ayurveda yoga is, Kundalini yoga helped me very much to strengthen my aura field. And then I discovered that my sensitivity to electricity just, I don't feel it, if ever now. I can feel it actually sometimes briefly, but I was very, very sensitive. And she gets sick from it, really. So, but that is, as I believe, very, very closely connected to the energy field around us. And then if it's weakened or holes in it and so on, then we will get way more affected by energies around, all kinds of energies around, really. So, yeah. And yeah, of course we need our body also when it comes to magical workings. So the stronger we are physically, health-wise, we can also use focus on the physical to kind of block or disconnect from the more subtler. It's not subtle; it's really the strongest, but the energy. What can I say? Environment. No, but yeah. But still, the stronger health we have, the greater power we can use in our energy. So the body is really, really important. The health of the body to be able to practice, for example, magic in a powerful way. And many who are interested in these kinds of things may not be as interested in the physical and vice versa. But it's really good to balance it up and to embrace our full potential and full abilities, really. What we are competent enough to do, and it's much more than most of us think. Alright, so, and also in there comes, of course, all of this is in a way health, but also when it comes to exercise and oxygen, fresh air, these things really, really affect the aura very well, and nature itself is the greatest healer when it comes to the aura. And of course our eating habits affect that a lot, so it's not surprising in many ways. It's not very surprising that my aura field was so terribly weakened. It was horrible, really, when I think about it. And also stress, or the things are, a lot of things are happening. If we worry a lot, or traumatic things happen, obviously that can affect the aura. Yeah. And if we go through something like that, we may need to back up. I mean, it can be strength. In my case now, I always live side by side with the ones that I communicate, I guess, most within my life probably is the spirit world, which is a bit nutty, but they're always there. So, and also to me it's the source of strength and the source of guidance and information and understanding and all kinds of things. So but then again, I have developed it for so long and so much, and also I'm still questioning, I'm still skeptical. I wouldn't just buy into anything, and constantly I see proofs in the outer world when I do readings or so on that they are accurate. So if that was not the case, I would still be open and try to understand messages and so, but I would absolutely also be open to the possibility or risk of misinterpreting and so on, and go off track. Many people have done that too. And so, but when in a crisis or something, it's really turbulent in our lives or something like that, it could be good to ground ourselves more in the physical and disconnect a bit. But still, again, my greatest source of help and strength is the spiritual realm. They see more of the wholeness, so I couldn't do without them. Also, but it's not always for the good to open things up. Sometimes it's closing ourselves down, so to speak, and that really would be most beneficial, and also would speed up the process. We think that the quicker we open everything and so on, the further along we will come quicker and learn much more in these fields. But that's not the case, really. It can really, really be the opposite way around, that it will slow the process or even block it. So if we feel that something else really need our attention and energy and focus, or we start to feel not good doing these practices, there should be no fear of pause or relax from them. It can really be needed. And as I said, when I left the coven, that was the reason. I also struggled with my food addiction and eating disorders, and I just realized that I needed just peace and calm around, and I was also very drawn to Zen at the time and meditating, and I felt it was nothing against the Wiccan path at all. It was just that I felt that I was not in the right stage to continue that. Although I was continuously open. I saw spirits all the time there also, who talked to me, and when I was at the anorexia center for a couple of years. But I took that decision to not continue in a coven, my training there, because of many things, but mostly because I needed a pause. I just needed peace and calm, and I knew that, so I followed that, and that was a very good choice. I really recovered much stronger and better, but still I'm not fully recovered from that, so one can wonder. But yeah, at the time it was really a great deal, and it was for a long time. I didn't actually I practiced the things that I had already learned, or to that degree you could say that I had come. You can't like back off from abilities you've already developed much, but so they are there, and I still kept that. I have that within me. The communication with this everything was there. It was nothing that I didn't do in that sense, but I just didn't push myself further or to develop more. And I think that was the most important thing, that I gave myself the luxury of pause, yeah. And it was so very, very needed at the time. I couldn't deal with any pressure at all, really. So, even though they, as I've said also before, they said that I could like pause and still stay in the coven and come back when I felt that it was better time for me to, but it wasn't meant to be at the time. No, so, and yeah, it was for the best. I realized that. Also, I was way more eclectic, I guess, than most of those, probably all of those that I've had contact with in that coven. So I guess I also probably, I didn't think about it much then, because I just wanted to have peace and calm, and like be in a Zen environment with nothing, no more impressions of any kind. It was like I was very overwhelmed. But somewhere there, I think also that I realized that I had a different view in many ways, and so I wanted, I guess, to explore it by myself also. Maybe I felt that I would be probably I would have wanted to adjust to their perceptions or practices and so on a little bit more than I felt was right for me if I would have stayed, and so I didn't. Anyways, yeah, and so even if we have like, and that's not judging anyone who have problems with their health, whether it's mental or emotional or physical, but if there are troubles there, it can be helpful to practice in occult manners with these things, really, very much so. It can really heal. It can also be dangerous, so in that case you truly need to take it easy and be very aware of what's going on. yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't really care for these structured teachings where you should follow a course in a certain amount of time. These things aren't something that can be pressed into that. You need to be very tuned into yourself, and if you were the teacher, do you say was the teacher? If you are the teacher, then you also need to follow the students closely and take in consideration all the aspects of where they are. That's like the responsible way of doing it. There are so many. I'm like positive, you could say, to some of the New Age things. Also, I practice a lot of it, but I'm still such a critic of those things for many reasons. And one is that I feel that sometimes you just, I don't know, sometimes I could just say it like this, sometimes it's very irresponsible. Yeah. And many things can happen with people going through like an afternoon course or even a weekend or so on, and then they are left with that. And I feel that is irresponsible. When it comes to energy work and inner work, it's very important that you don't leave them with it. You know, both that and that you would really follow up and listen in and where they are at, so that it would be beneficial for them and not worsen their situation. If, for example, if it would be a physical problem, it takes energy, to work with energy and develop it. After you know it already or so on, it wouldn't as much. It doesn't take as much an effort or energy to do that then. Depending on how powerfully you want to practice something, but you can of course exhaust you however healthy you are. So, but generally, anyways. If you are ill, for example, or so, you truly need that energy for your physical healing and for your to keep yourself in the best balance and so on. So probably since it takes energy to develop these things, especially from the beginning when you learn them, maybe it's not what you should go for, especially if it's a serious illness of sorts. I'm not saying it's always a bad thing, but it can worsen the situation because it takes energy, and that's the only reason. When it comes to emotional or mental things, there are other pitfalls, I guess, but in essence, it's the same thing. You need your energy to probably work through some things emotionally that you need to integrate or heal, and even get some clarity in your ordinary life, so things work better. But since in my life I've been so chaotic, it's very silly for me to sit and say things like that, because I wouldn't have wanted it differently. But should I have been waiting till I was like in a perfect balanced state? That would never have occurred, of course. So whatever feels good to you. And I'm not saying you cannot practice it in the way that you can, if you trust some other healer or anyone that would teach you even, maybe to come or so, to get some form of healing from them, or things like that would just be helpful. that couldn't be harmful, I don't think, as long as you feel that it's a good vibe for you and the right environment for you. But to start practicing yourself could it could harm, it could be detrimental even. So yeah, you really need to think it over if you are in that situation and want to work with energy. Realize that it takes a toll on you. You need to focus a lot, and it takes, even if it comes natural to some of us pretty much, still to develop the skill and become more clear about it will absolutely take some effort. And so if you feel that you have that extra strength, then it could be a good thing though. Yeah. To me it was very much like everything I've done so far, it feels, but still they are my passions as well. I still feel that's my happy places, that's my my inspirations and everything. So it's very good. But at the same time, it have been me surviving all the time. When I was drawing, writing a whole lot, and so on, it was just survival. I couldn't survive without it, and the same with all of the other things that I've done. Now, more and more, it starts to become more fun, just or just I don't feel every day, but that's not true even. It's clearly survival now too. It's very much so. Yeah. So, but I don't feel it that way now. I don't. When I want to develop more of these things that I know and the abilities that I have, and so it's not because I feel like I absolutely have to, otherwise I would drown, or it's because I am curious and that I really want to and inspired and yeah, it's positive feelings in there that I really love it. So yeah, and I've just touched on the surface of everything there, that all the abilities we all have. But it's fascinating when you have discovered some of it that just isn't explainable and so on. Then you kind of start to understand that when you grasp that, when you look at maybe you don't have to look at your whole life, but when you see the patterns and you understand certain things, like certain cause and effects things, and it's then you realize you only scratched on the surface, and there is so much more to discover, and that you have unlimited power, honestly. So it's just to welcome it and allow it and learn it sometimes. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. And also when it comes to being a psychic or medium, I don't think ever that had been a problem for me. Maybe the one time when they were breathing in the pillow, you've heard that story, right? When I was a teenager, maybe, I don't know if I was 14 or, I don't know. That was the spirit that followed me and was laying down beside me on the bed, and I saw where the head was laying, and heard the breath of that spirit. Very physical spirit, although I could see the spirit. I saw the impact on the bed from that spirit laying there, and also I heard that very, very as clearly as anyone else breathing beside me. And then I would have wanted to just be able to shut that off and not experience it or see it or feel it. I was terrified. But I feel like they are very comforting in their presence. So, but still, it's very important that you decide that you don't let everyone, as in ordinary life as well, with openness and that you don't let everyone have access to you all the time, like 24/7, being on call, kind of. Even with the spiritual world, that's not how it should be. But personally, I feel that I have so many protectors and so many strong spirits and guides around, so I don't think they come through, honestly. I think that's the reason, because I'm pretty open. I just think there are others around me that won't let anything come through to me anytime, and I'm very grateful for that. And also, I decide to open up, sometimes things just pop up to me. I always appreciate when that happens, because then it is seemingly important, or something that is needed to be seen or showed someone else, or what it is. So I appreciate that. But mostly, since I tune in also very many times a day to connect with the spirit world and what they have in mind, let's say. Therefore, I don't think oftentimes they don't need to do that. So if I want to be just concentrated on this more mundane or physical part of life, I can be. I'm not interrupted, let's say. It happens though that I can see something around a little bit, but not disturbingly. I just love it. So yeah. Even one of my guides have been captured on film, actually, on my other... One of my ancestors, you can say, that that was born the same day as I, they are very much... it seems like spirits are more interested in those who have the same dates or swords and things like that, seem to matter a lot to them. Anyways, he was born not the same year, obviously, but the same date as I realized when I checked through some... I didn't know he existed, honestly, until I got some papers from those ancestral lineage, and so after my granddad passed. So before then, I had no clue there was anyone with that name in my ancestry, but he's very protective and also very physical. He like still have those kind of personal, likes and dislikes. He thought the Labrador I had was way too noisy and everything. He didn't like her, and he liked certain sports. I mean, it's like he's very much, I don't know. Anyways, he's pretty physical in some ways. So in one video, maybe I can find it. Hopefully, it's on my other channel. Maybe I could put it beneath here and but you still weren't there, so you can't know that it's not a real person still. But I actually think my brother was there, and we were talking. We were sitting and talking. I talk meanwhile, so I have my voice like not a voice over. It's like talk to him sitting there in the sofa, and there was another person with I saw how his whole movement and how he looked like passed by the camera, but there was only me and my brother in the room. So and that was pretty surprising. It took a while before I uploaded it and saw this then, but yeah, fantastic. So yeah. Anyways, what was I going to say then? Yeah, it's very important though that all kinds of spirits or energies don't come close to you whenever. So I wouldn't, for example, my little nephew, I wouldn't want him to develop or open up to these things. If he wants to, I mean, he's still very open. All kids are, of course, but he's a very, very curious and open person, but also luckily very physical, it seems. Very playful, but I wouldn't encourage that, because he needs to become very solid in his physical body and in his physical world. That's what his progress is now, where he is at. And so, and also being as open as kids are, I mean, yeah, it's better that he wait. I think he have a lot of healing and all kinds of ability. I think he's one of those rainbow children. He doesn't sleep much. He never almost slept daytimes and so on. Already he is, and also those beautiful big eyes, and he's like this miracle. Talking about miracle. Anyways, and so because he can't, or as young as he is and as open as all kids are, he obviously cannot, some energies would be too strong and can affect him badly and so on, so I wouldn't invite any kind of energies around him, and I wouldn't support him exploring or developing it. And also during adolescence, many of those horror movies or whatnot is around there because we like to scare ourselves, obviously, but also when things change so much, it becomes this all transitions, this openings also kind of. So when we change, when a lot of is happening as when we are teenagers, then there is a special kind of openness for these kinds of energies and beings, you can say, in the spiritual realm also to influence us. And so and having this knowledge myself, I can obviously protect a lot, and that is something I do, but with my energy and just with my thoughts even. But and usually I also don't want to like steal what other people's cultures do and so on, but like for example dream catchers and so on are made by so many, but I've just today bought some things to make the first dream catcher, and I think maybe, I'm not sure I would show it. I think they're magical. I don't like to show magical tools. I think that other people can, even through the videos and so on, can tune in and affect that. So anyways, it's very beautiful, and the feathers are so beautiful. I haven't started doing it yet, but I have all the things I need for it. It's not very difficult to do it, I don't think, but also one little pearl also in there is what you should have. And oh, sorry for that sound, I do that sometimes. And so I will do that for him for his first birthday now. And of course it will not be just a random craft. Of course I will craft it with my intent very strong, and some magic woven into it. But otherwise I don't want to influence at all, just for protection. And who knows, later on maybe in his life he will seek these things himself. We will see. Both his parents have it a lot, so I think he can't avoid it, and he's very open himself. So, but I hope it takes some time. I hope. I mean, the openness can be used in many ways, and natural healing abilities and so on. But to focus in on it, I think that's good if you wait with that. So, yeah, and that is the case when it comes to any other person, also with some vulnerabilities, let's say. Then, you need to be strong enough to withstand energies. Also, you can actually see that a lot in your own life, how not resilient maybe, but how if you're easily not like if you're easily overwhelmed, because that can be just a sensitivity for many energies at the same time or such, but if you're easily influenced by other people in a direction you don't want to or so, then you probably should work with, sorry, I bumped into the corner. You should probably work with that a lot first, so you become a little bit stronger in your own energy before, because in the spirit realm there are also a lot of intent. So to be able to guide it in your way and to benefit for it yourself, you need to work on getting strong yourself also, at least maybe before you even start with these things. But if you do, you really need to do that at least at the same time. So yeah. So, and that's why practicing these bubble exercises or energy exercises with your own aura field and so on, just getting in tune and learn how the energies feels and learn how you get affected by others' energies and so on, even in the mundane world, that is. But it's a really good thing. And it's safe then and conscious, rather than just bumping into things and see what happens. That can cause you harm. So, and it's crucial and very important not to rush things. You really need to take it slow and understand that there is no rush. It's probably the quickest way is to take it very slow, so you truly integrate the things that you start to practice and open up to. Yeah, and you will see that pretty quickly if you gradually start to open up to things and experience them, then you adjust also your own perception of reality. Have to adjust, and it can't go like with the snap of your fingers. You need to it takes a while for your whole system to process that there is a shift there. Oh wow, is this how reality is really? What, and also just to integrate things, you learn to make them a solid base to build on. It's really, really good. It makes it much easier further on with practices if the basics are very solid. And if it's a little bit wobbly or fragile there, then things on top can also start to sway a bit, if you understand. So, yeah. It's always when I try to talk about these things, it sounds like I try to convince people off of it, but this is the things that I love the most, aside from my family, that would be. But I mean, this is my life. This is what I love the most, and I wouldn't want to hold it from someone. I just want to share a little bit of awareness that it's not. I think especially those who doubt it a lot, many of those who don't believe, let's say, or doubt, they want to, as they say in Archive X, or no, it's called, here it's really called Archive X, what's it called? X-Files, yeah. Anyways, I want to believe. Yeah, they want to, so, but still they can be very clear that it's not the case. And when they start to really experience things they weren't prepared to experience, that is very much something else than just imagine it. If you think it's still impossible, or it's a way to talk yourself out of what happened or what it is, to some degree that is possible, but when things start to really take off, you can't explain it away. It will be too clear for you. Like some magic I did, it was like maybe a couple of years ago, 1.5 years ago maybe. Actually, it was, I asked the question I wanted an answer to, and there was a candle, and how it was written, I've never seen a candle do like that even. It was like a pretty wide candle, or thick, you say. A lot of girth. Alongside of it, it was like, how can I say, you know, it burned down in the middle, but on the sides it was still like some shell, like, what can you say? Do you understand what I mean? With some openings in. And after a while, when this burned, and I had a specific question to this, it showed like clearly on the side there 2 names that was connected to this thing that I questioned about, or I asked about, what something like that. I wanted some names, and they were written like in mirrored, let's say. Maybe it was, if I read it from the inside. No, it was still in mirrored. Yeah. So, anyways, but it was super clear, the names, and that cannot just happen. For example, and some other person saw that too and was like scared almost. But that happens very often in my life. Things that are like pretty impossible if you would look at it from a just ordinary perspective. So. And if you start to practice these things, you will come across these things, and it will mess you up pretty much if you hurry. So take it slow, even if you don't believe in it. I think that can become a crisis, sort of, if you then realize that, oh my, I was wrong. She was maybe a little bit right here. So, but the first things to develop, anyways, because I want to encourage this, just to do it in the most safe way. Visualization, to see with your inner mind. I can see, I see with my inner eyes and my inner vision as clear as with my outer senses. So it's not that I just, sometimes it's more vague, or sometimes it's symbolic, and sometimes it's like words or written also, but I mean, I can go into that world as clearly as this outer world, and the same with all the other senses. With hearing and touching, you know, smell, yeah, everything, taste and all that. And concentration, you can also practice like breathing in and breathing out, counting to 10, on starting over. For each out breath, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10, and then you start over. And if you do that for like a longer and longer time without losing count, you can create that strong concentration that you need, and also to be creative, to use your imagination. That's very important. Oh, I see that I've talked for too long now. I messed up. But yeah, to daydream is really good practice. Daydream in the direction where you want things to go. It's okay. Much love for now, and I will talk to you later.